my books up until this point when it first came out would sell like, 200 copies, 300 copies. So that's kind of what I was expecting. We sold over 2,000 copies during pre-order. And I was just like, this is crazy. I feel like this is the book that, quote unquote, put me on the map. So just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying about the PR, sometimes you can market so hard that if you don't have the back end,
you can't fulfill it.
Correct.
You can't fulfill it.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about Audria. Who is Audria? Were you born and raised with a 2-parent household?
Yes. So when my mother, because my mother passed away, she passed away last year. So when my mother and my dad were married. But when I was growing up, I stayed with my mother. And so my dad would come over, he would come and pick us up. And I knew of him, but I didn't know him. And then when my brother was getting up in age, he started to become a little problematic. And then my mother felt like, okay, we need a man in the house. And so he moved back in during my teenage years. And so that's when they were both together. Then as I got older, they separated again. So it's just on and off of him being in the house, being in and out of the house with my mother. So they were both present. But as far as like who I am, I'm from Memphis. I am one of 5 kids. I'm the baby girl out of 5. Yeah.
Only entrepreneur?
Yes.
Okay.
In my family. Yes.
So you came from a family that did not necessarily promote entrepreneurship.
Not only that,
right?
they did not promote like education either. Like what I mean by that is they wanted me to get out of school, but nobody was like, you got to go to college, or you got to get a degree, or you got to do that.
Did you go to college?
Actually, I went to a technical school because of my ex, like my quote unquote first love. He went to school. I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life, so I just went to school with him. But
well, that's good. You had some good, somebody around you that kind of pulled you along. So, but I bet you one of the things you just said about your parental upbringing is that relationships was more. It wasn't necessarily about love. It was transactional. It made sense to bring your father back in the house at that time to help with your son. I mean, your brother at that time, right? Do you think that had anything to do with how you look at love today?
That's a great question. And I actually never thought of it like that until you just said it that way. I think, I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. I feel